Hello, fellow classmates. So about triangulation, I found myself in a situation in my church in which I think it could have become a triangulation situation, but thank God I was able to avoid it becoming a major issue. But we had a teenage girl who wanted to be baptized. Uh, she wanted to be baptized in our church. It just so turned out that her grandfather was a CRE in our church, a certified ruling elder, and therefore he could be authorized to do a baptism. So I approached our clerk of session about this and said, hey, can we baptize this young girl and have her grandfather do it? And the clerk of session said, no, we are not going to let that happen that way. If this girl is going to be baptized, we are going to call in Dr. Slemons from UDTS and ask him to do it. And I asked her why. And she had said that there was another member of the church whose granddaughter had a baby and wanted that baby baptized in our church. And the minister of the time said, no, since the girl was not a member of the church, he was not going to baptize her child there. And so I think it could have been a triangulation issue if I wouldn't have dealt with it like I did. Um, I think there's still some pain, there was still some heartache from this situation, and they wanted to pass this off and say, you know what, let's let Dr. Slemons do it. So I did end up speaking to Dr. Slemons and asked his opinion on things, and came to the realization that the reason that we don't like to do baptisms in a church when someone is not a member is because the congregation is making that promise to be there for that family as they raise their child in the faith. And when you baptize a child in the church you will never attend, you're setting that congregation up to break that promise. Um, Now, needless to say, uh, so what I did is I did reach out to the grandfather of this young girl and said, listen, this is why we want people to be members of the church if we're going to do a baptism. And at the end of the day, we never ended up doing a baptism. It never became a big deal. Now, that does leave the unfortunate situation still alive in our church that there is pain. Um, I think it is compounded by the fact that this is a church that is on the verge of closing its doors. They would like anything, they would like nothing more than to have breathe life back into this church, have children in this church again. And so I think there is that pain, that heartache, that hoping that, if the pastor back then would have done this baptism, then maybe that would have brought a little bit of life into the church. Um, but that's really in my church, in my congregation that I serve. This, I think, was the closest I ever got to a triangulation uh, situation. It's nothing easy to deal with, and I don't think it's nothing any of us really want to have to go through, but we do our best to avoid being put in those situations. Um, and hopefully, we can all find our way to avoid a triangulation situation.